todas las movies hay un chavo y una chava y se quieren.
Oh,
This is DTM, Art Life All Day. We just finished rearranging some things in the studio. This is my office, and my mom's chilling right there watching the movie. Give her a black and white Mexican movie, and she's happy. So one of these days, I'll give you a little tour. Let me just show you some of my wall back there. Got some of my pieces. Yeah, it's hard to see because of the light. And then here goes more and more and more. So in any case, more coming soon. In the meantime, putting some work here in the studio. We're happy, a little tired and sweaty. It's hot, ATL. And then it's back to drawing later on today. Hopefully you're catching up with some of the videos that I'm posting on the YouTube channel, Vector Maestros. And if you want to come on over to Facebook, on my Facebook page, and you'll see everything that I've been posting lately, including some still shots, screenshots, finished artwork, and Behance links. Alright, Delta Tango Mike, Art Life All Day. A ver, madre. Diles Art Life All Day.
¿Que le diga qué?
Que digas Art Life All Day.
I like all day.
Órale. It's close enough. Art Life All Day. So this is DTM, Art Life All Day, back in the office. Whew, tired, it's hot. Atlanta's hot, even at these 80 some degrees, the humidity, man. But we're back in the house, and I'm gonna go ahead and set up and go live. And the reason why I want to go live is to talk about Adobe Fresco, show off Adobe Fresco on the iPad and on the Surface. I've been getting a lot of messages or comments on the YouTube channel where people don't believe that I have Adobe Fresco on the Surface, and the reason why they don't believe it is because it looks just like it does. The Adobe Fresco on the Surface looks the same as Adobe Fresco on the iPad. So I'm gonna do a side by side. I'm gonna show off my screens. I'm gonna show off the actual table, my desk with the Surface and the iPad side by side, and talk about who is Adobe Fresco for. And but I'm gonna title it in a way that makes people look at the video, since there's so much clickbait out there where artists are saying, is Adobe Fresco the Procreate killer? Like, who said that it would be? Adobe hasn't. And but people use words like that to incite the drama online to get people to watch their videos, because at the end of the day, those artists wouldn't even use that software anyways, because it's not part of their workflow. But the rest of the people who are watching the videos and getting all hyped up about it, they already have anti-Adobe sentiment. I don't care either way. But then the facts are buried under a lot of opinion and innuendo, and no one really gets to see the software for what it is. And to me, it's important that as artists who are working on mastering their craft should know their tools and know how to use them, and figure out which tools work best for you, not which tools are better, which tools are killer or top king on the iPad, or which tool is the one that you need to stick with. It's usually going to be a series, mix, combination of tools that's going to help you achieve your work, achieve your goals, and get your talents to the level that you want. And I had a teacher a long time ago. He used to say, it's not the tools, it's the talent. And then he would say, half the time is the talent, half the time is the tools. And I think that in this day and age, we're getting to the point where people believe that if I have the same tools as a professional artist, then my art will be professional also, which is understandable because I felt the same way a long time ago, back when I was starting out, and I was like, oh, artists use blue pencils to draw on paper. Well, I need blue pencils. Artists have black books to draw. Well, I need a black book. And artists have Wacom Cintiqs. I need a Wacom Cintiq. Or they have an iPad. I need an iPad. And we get caught up in that to the point where now, when something comes out, you're not even we're getting to that point where now when something comes out, it's like, oh yeah, that doesn't do what I need it to do, so that app is bad or that software is bad. No, that's not how it goes. Let me double check who this is. This is Dan.
Hey, I was wondering, what is the minimum price for your shop?
The minimum price for my shop, like
Yes.
for a tattoo or for my shop? You trying to buy my
For a
shop?
tattoo, sorry.
It depends on the tattoo, but it usually starts at 150.
150? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem. Bye bye. Okay, I was hoping they weren't trying to buy my shop. I'm not against selling it, but that's not the kind of question you want to hear on a phone call. In any case, so I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna talk about my process and my breakdown of software and hardware and tools, so that others who are interested in trying out new things that come out, you do it with the clear idea in mind that the software is not, no, the software companies are not fighting each other. They're fighting to get your attention, maybe get your money, but it's up to you to determine what's your purpose for creating art, what are your preferences for creating art, and that will determine your budget for creating art. And so another artist, a very respected and wonderful, amazing, super smart artist, his name is Mr. Soul. He chimed in one of my posts about how artists are not taking the time to determine what things work for them, and instead just joining the anti-Adobe fray, which is something else to talk about. And so I said, so I categorized artists into two camps: professional artists and recreational artists. And recreational artists, I just found an easy way to come up with a word that is not professional artists, whereas and anybody who does not produce client work or is creating work for the purpose of selling or commissions, then that is recreational artist. Where the professional artist is constantly working on their own stuff, maybe working on their own projects, but at the end of the day, they see a customer, a user, or a client when it comes to their art. And so he chimed in and mentioned that for a minute. So what I want to do is, and at least in this video, because I don't want to do that in the Fresco video, is tell the difference between a recreational artist and a professional artist, in that I'm not using the word recreational artist to mean someone who's lesser. I do want to make sure that we understand the difference between the types of artists that are out here, because that also determines the type of tools they need and the type of budget they can work with. And as a professional artist, I already pay for software and hardware. I have expenses. I have an office. I have a warehouse. I have art materials. I have computers. I have a home office. I have a long list of things that I use when it comes to my creative process working with clients, and the things that I use are the price of those things are already included in what I charge my clients. So if Adobe says, well, it's $50 for the Creative Cloud, I say, okay, because that's a cost that's going to be added on to running my business. 10 years ago, and however long ago it was that we had the Creative Suite and standalone software back in the day, it was $700 to $900 for updated version of Photoshop or updated version of Illustrator, and you had to pay that every year and a half, every 2 years, in order to stay up to date within the industry. Because when you're talking to a company, collaborating with a team, the file types would not work if you were not close enough in versions. So if you were working on version 3 and the industry is on version 5, then your files would not open on a version 5 software. You'd have to convert your version 3 files to version 4 when you export, and there was an option for that. And then the people in the version 5 would be able to open a version 4. So there was one version a difference that you can still work in, but anything outside of that, you were way behind the times, and that hurt your chances with clients. That hurt your workflow. That hurt your process. And so it's become a thing where, well, you want the latest and the greatest so that you can stay up to date with your clients who have certain needs. And I'm looking for these type of clients up here who have very particular needs and price point. Not just anyone at home or small business where they themselves are behind the industry standard. In which case, then you're free to do what you want and work with whatever tools you have available. But if I want to charge a particular price, then that price is telling the client that I work with that particular set of skills and software. Here's an example. This company I'm working with needed a video editor, and so I found them the video editor because I've been working with this guy, and so the video editor, his part of his negotiation was, well, I need the Creative Cloud paid for the duration of the contract, so that I can have the tools that they need for this project. And the company said, okay. And so the company is at a level where it needs to stay within a particular level of tools. And so anybody coming to work in this project is going to have these tools. And even if you don't have the tools yourself, that company is willing to pay for it just to get you to work on it so you can do your part. And so the good thing is, of course, I was in the middle of it. And I'm telling them, you need this guy, get this guy. And what you don't want is a client saying, well, do you have this, do you have that? And then you say no, or I don't know how to work in that. I can work in Procreate, or I can work in Affinity Designer, or I can work in such and such. And then they're like, well, we need Illustrator files. We need this, we need that. And before you say, well, you can export an Illustrator file from Affinity Designer. Yes, you can. You can export whatever. I don't know how to Procreate. You could. In my experience, once I open that file in Illustrator, there are some things that don't work because there's some things that are layers that are not in Vector because those softwares cannot export into Illustrator, into Vector file, and they cannot export certain things that are only available in that app. Same thing with Illustrator. If you open a newer Illustrator file in an older version of Illustrator, there's some things in the newer Illustrator that are not available in the older Illustrator, and so then those layers are not editable anymore. And so when you're working with teams and collaborating with companies, you need that software that's at that right level, including your machines, your hardware, and the level of the version of the software you're using. So even though you're great at this other particular software, if that's not the industry standard, if that's not going to work in collaboration, then that's going to be a problem, and that's when you have to figure out whether or not something is for you. Okay, that's a quick one. Let me get back to it. Our Life All Day, Delta Tango Mike. Check out the live streams. Headed out to Starbucks. If this video makes it into today's Art Life All Day, then that means I traded an iPad Air 2 for a Apple Watch 2 Series. I'm all about trading. I'm all about getting the things you want, getting the things you can get with what you got. So I got an iPad Air sitting around. It's not doing anything. I do use it for live streaming sometimes, but most of the time it just sits. So let's go ahead and see if we can make this trade. you know how Craigslist and Facebook marketplace be. Sometimes people come through, sometimes they fall through. And so hopefully this is a legit trade, and this person is the Apple Watch is working and wants to test out. It's gonna test out the iPad Air to make sure it works, and I know it works. It's my iPad. I got the box. I got everything to go with it. So, art life all day. Hey, thanks for watching. This is Delta Tango Mike. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter under Delta Tango Mike. And please tag me in your work. I like to see what you're working on. Check out some more tutorials and demos at the YouTube channel Vector Maestros. And if you're interested in art business discussions and interviews with artists, check out the YouTube channel Art is King. Until next time, peace out.